This is my GT Pro Freestyle Tour Team model 1988, which I've owned since new. I live in Dublin, Ireland, and I had to ship this bike from the US back in 1988, and from what I can remember it was a store in Florida. I can't remember exactly the name of the store in Florida, but it was ordered through an ad in BMX Plus magazine, which I was buying at the time. I decided to do this video because I just came across a load of GT Freestyle Tour Team model videos on YouTube, and I have this bike up on the bmxmuseum.com since 2015 when it was originally rebuilt. So yeah, I ordered the bike in 1988, somewhere in 1988 it arrived in Dublin. As far as I can remember, it worked out at about £800. Punts at the time was the Irish currency to get this shipped over, and people at the time were saying, you're absolutely crazy, you know, I could have got a 2-year-old Mazda 323 for that price, and BMX fad was long gone, and I was 20 odd years of age, and you know, I should have outgrown the sport. And a lot of people had, in Ireland the sport had pretty much died, except just for a few friends of mine. There may have been pockets of other people around still doing it. I know Belfast still had a little bit of scene, and there was a guy up in Belfast in '87 when we had been up, I'd been up in the north at one point to a BMX session, or jam as you say, back in '87, and there was a Pro Freestyle Tour up there, and I saw it at the time. I didn't have the bike then, obviously. So there may be two in Ireland, but this is definitely the only one, 88, that I know of in Southern Ireland. So I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on the bike. When I got it, the first thing that was strange was the stem. Of course, I've replaced that now. The original stem was one of the 88 stem that's on this now. I didn't particularly like it at the time. I always thought the mallet stem was nicer on the 87, but when mine showed up, strangely, it didn't have a hollow stem bolt. It had a standard bolt, which was an absolute nightmare for me on packaging it, hoping to, you know, get out and ride, and I couldn't spin the handlebars. So luckily a friend of mine who lived nearby had an old bike that had a GT mallet stem, so I borrowed that off him for a while until I got a proper hollow stem bolt for it, so I had to do that. And naturally, you know, when you bought a bike back then, you always customize it, so there was things that got changed pretty quickly and other things stayed longer. I suppose I'll start at the top and work around. The seat on this, I was gonna look for an original 88, I think the Viscount GT seat, and the price was just crazy on eBay. They were, you know, $250 to $300 for, you know, mint ones, and I just wasn't going to pay that kind of money for a seat. Seats are usually things that got trashed, so the original seat was taken off at one point, and I bought around 91, had the bike in 91, I was still riding it, one of the GT padded seats. Some of you guys might remember that. That is the original layback seat post. After all these years, that survived. I never was keen on the original 88 seat bolt clamp, the one with the little drill holes, and I replaced that maybe whenever this one was available. I think around 91, 92. I got the twin bolt seat post clamp, which I think was really nice. I'm not going for, you know, complete factory rebuild on this bike. As I said, if I see one of the original 88 stem bolts, or sorry, seat clamp bolts, I would probably change it if it was reasonable enough, you know, but I'm still not willing to pay the $200 odd that people are looking for a clamp. Regarding the frame and fork, completely original chrome on this. It was, as you can see from the photographs, it was taken out of my attic conversion, out in the attic compartment in 2015, and the chrome on it had some rust, very superficial rust. I was very lucky with this bike. I rode it up until 2001, and not constantly. I was involved in various other things, so you know, the winters here are really bad, so you don't really get to ride out that much. Got involved with music, this, that and the other, so I rode it on and off for a lot of years, so it didn't really get battered as much as some bikes would have, but it was a genuine, you know, I mean, it was ridden a lot. So the chrome polished up very, very well. I used some Autosil or Autosol chrome polish after a good cleaning, and as you can see, I mean, most of it is pretty much mint. I was really surprised. There's no cracks, no dings in the frame. Everything is really, really nice and original. The wheels have a bit of a history. So the original hub is on the front, the original Super Lace 36 hub, the original axles. A little bit closer. Everything there is very, very clean. And the rims, however, got buckled. The UK rims got buckled at one point, and I replaced them with Array of 7Xs in chrome, which is all I could get at the time, and I needed a bike really, really quickly because BMX parts were really, really hard to get in the late 80s here in Ireland. You had to order everything from the UK or the US, and I was lucky enough to pick up a pair of Array of 7Xs in chrome that were in good condition at the time in a store. And also I had the standard freewheel hub, the 36 spoke Super Lace hub on the back. The axle cracked in that, had some problems, and everybody then, you know, was moving to free coaster. So I rang a store in the UK and asked a guy, did he have like a Suntour hub or something like that? And he said, you know what, mate? He was English, and he said, I think I have this GT coaster hub, and it's been lying around here in a box for ages, and if you're interested, you can have it for 50 quid, including shipping. So naturally I said yeah. So what I've got on the back here is the original GT coaster hub, and I've done some modding on it. Originally I took, I put a washer and done the conversion. It didn't feel very good, so I just took out the complete mechanism which would make the coaster brake work. Now there's a massive gap, and I just got used to that. There's quite a gap there. Obviously I don't ride this bike now, but at the time in 91 or whatever, I just got used to the gap. I just wanted a free coaster. So I believe, and I have seen that these in a box, and this one is original. The sticker is gone from the center, that's all. And the inners have changed. Had a bit of a problem with it some years ago, and I changed a few bits of the inside. But otherwise it's working fine. And I have seen them, as I said, go for $1,000 for the hubs. I don't know how many GT made. So the other thing I changed then is that's an AD 990 on the back. The bike came with a black Axiom rear brake, and I think I had some issues with that, and I changed it, and I just got the chrome AD 990 off a mountain bike somewhere. So that's the original one then that was changed probably 1990 or so. Now the cranks completely original. Now most people will know that they're a little bit more polished because the kind of finish that was on them had got kind of rough, so I had to polish it down, and got new decals which I put on. The one on the far side is much straighter. I bought a second set, I haven't got around to do it. Got that, put it on, it got a little bit crooked. The GT winged power disc, I had the original GT compact disc on that, took it off, put the power disc on, got the tough neck chain ring, and when I was rewheeling the bike I was going to go with the power disc again, or the CD disc again. Put it on and then realised I needed a spacer, so I took this out and put the GT one back on the GT. Now the wings on it were gone really, really bad. They were practically worn off in some cases, and luckily I have a fairly artistic hand and a very steady hand. I got a permanent marker, very thin permanent marker, and redrew in all the wings. You can see little gaps here and there, but at a glance, I mean, it finishes it off nicely. The chain was, I can't remember, maybe it's a standard. A lot of the parts at the time was standard industry chain, which was really rusted and rotted. I wasn't going to pay loads of money for the one with the GT stamp, so I just got a white generic, I think it's a KMC chain. Wasn't really too pushed about having the GT stamp on the chain, because I was considering kind of going to ride this a little bit more, and then I changed my mind when the build came together so well. I just decided to change my mind. The original SR pedals, really bad story. A lot of the parts that I took off the SR pedals, I changed to Shimano DX as soon as I got the bike. I took them off, they were practically new, took them off, put them in a bag. The original Viscount Seat. Trying to think what else. The pegs, the rear standards, which I never really liked. Once you had pegs on the rear stand, two of them didn't work together. I was kind of wanting to learn at the time backyards and mega spins, and the standard looping here with the peg just didn't work, so I got rid of them. Those are custom made pegs actually that I got off a guy on Etsy. Really, really nice. They bolt in inside, and I think they finish off the bike. Not, yeah, obviously they're not factory, but really, really nicely done. So with the color combo, I was very concerned about the black hub on the front versus the white hub on the back. So rather than going with the chrome Pro Freestyle Tour stickers that originally came with this bike with the color combo, I decided to go with, I think the one that came with the pink or the orange, which had a white decal, freestyle in white, the white chain, then links to the white hub. So there is kind of a unique way of doing the color combination. The front decals, I believe I got the wrong way around. Not a big issue, not too concerned about that. Somebody pointed it out to me online. Originally, the GT bars were in a bag as well. I was going to come to a point about various bits. The original Tech 7 levers were fairly mangled. They were put in a bag. So around 2001, I decided to retire this bike, and I bought a KHE Lager, and I was going to use that to start riding flatland again. And at the point, I just went through the shed and I found the bag with all the stuff in it, and I just threw it in the bin, not thinking that there would ever be any interest in these old school BMX parts. Luckily, I kept the frame and fork and put it away. So the wheels were pretty much Survivor, apart from the rims. The cranks, original Survivor. The bottom bracket, nothing actually, when I was rebuilding the bike, the bottom bracket, nothing came out. I just left it intact. Took the crank arms off to polish them. So the bottom bracket on that is perfect. The epoch headset, perfect as well. Obviously it got a little bit worn. The epoch was kind of gone off it, so I just got rid of it altogether just to finish, just so that wasn't kind of half there. So that was removed. New gyro cables, obviously. The gyro, I think, was a replacement. It's from about 94, as far as I can remember. Don't recall buying a new Odyssey gyro for it, because the top part has very, very minor little nicks. I don't even know if the camera can pick it up, and I'd be mean to go over that with like a permanent marker just to fill them. They're very, very faint. GT Amy grips, bought those new, and I decided to go with the Tech 7s because I had them on the bike. And the handlebars then were an NOS set of freestyle bars, GT freestyle bars. I did have Harrow knee savers on them. I think they were slightly better set of bars for certain tricks like 40 yards and funky chickens and that kind of stuff. This bike, you know, has had quite a history. I was fortunate enough, a friend of mine moved to LA in late 92. And in 96, I brought the bike over with me to California and fulfilled a dream to ride BMX over there, and got to hang out in Santa Monica, met some riders. I didn't meet any of the legends on that trip, and the 96 trip. Bike came back again in 1998, went back over to the States again. Had an attempt to bring it down to Huntington Beach, and it failed. So it would have been really, really nice to have got the bike back to Huntington Beach. So 2001, as you can see from the various photographs that I'm going to put up there as well, of me riding the bike in 2001. Just before it was retired, and you know, it was just great, easy to rebuild, and just really, really happy the way it came out. One little detail, in case somebody was wondering why I ignored the Diacomp brake, I do have the original nip-on. You can see the photograph there, it's black, and I've been planning, I bought this replacement one, and as you can see, it doesn't have the nip-on on it. It was a lot cheaper for the parts, just to finish off the bike. At the time it was relatively cheap. I was ordering stuff and I said, right, I'll throw that in as well. And maybe at some point I'll put the proper nip-on arm back on there, because I see them going on eBay for like crazy money as well, $300, $400. I was never really keen on these. Once I got into flatland, I kind of took them off. I always thought they were a little bit silly. But I decided to put them on because where they were first clamped, there's a tiny bit of a kink, you know, in the chrome there, and would have needed a fair bit of work to get it. So it covers up that mark, and I wasn't interested in. A lot of people put the kickstand tail thing on the back. I absolutely hate them. I think they're hideous. That's just my own personal opinion. So yeah, this is the bike. One last thing, of course, would be the tires. They're just a primo tire. They're high pressure. Again, the price that people are paying for GT tires, and tires are always something that you just, you know, they last 6 months, whatever, 3 months, you rip them off. Never like the GT Freestyle tire. There was a bit of a ridge on them at first in the front and made it hard to do certain spinning tricks. So they were replaced fairly quickly when I originally bought this bike. Other little details, obviously the GT dust cap covers. I really can't think of anything else. Oh, I'll just flip it over. There is one last little detail. The original colored decal is on the bottom. I left that intact. So there you have it. That's the original GT decal from back in 1988. Other little detail about this, which is probably worthy of mention, is the stamp. So it's an 87 frame. It was built in 87, and some people were saying, well, you know, you can't really put the 87 decals on it because, you know, a lot of like cars are built in at the end of the year and then they don't get shipped out till 88, so not until they're registered they are 88. But I don't know, maybe I'll just leave it as an 88 because that's what it is, you know. So anyway, thanks for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And this is, as I said, to the best of my knowledge is the only 88 GT Pro Freestyle Tour Team model that I'm aware of in Ireland.